Hello, and welcome to the next video in the series. This time round we're going to be looking at audio, and I'm going to take you through a number of the tools and tips and tricks by taking you through a process that many people used to do before the advent of streaming, namely ripping a CD. We're also going to take a look at another tool which you've probably already come across called Audacity. Back in the day, there was a program called Goldwave, which many people knew and used to edit audio files, but it wasn't free. Audacity is cross-platform, has been around for a while, and is open source, so it's no surprise if you've already come across it. But hey ho. So we're going to do a number of things in the process of ripping this CD. This is by Reina del Cid, and this one's called The Cooling. One of the reasons I chose this one is because it's not known. It's not on a label. IMDb, no, not IMDb, the IDDB, whatever the lookup service is. I don't think anyone's actually put it on there, so we'll be able to go through a few things. There we go, audio disc, we have it loaded. Now obviously for various copyright reasons I'm not going to be able to play any music here, which is a bit of a bugger, but hey ho. So sound and video, we have a number of things here, and the first thing we have is one called Asunder, and it's a CD ripper, and that's what we're going to use to do the main ripping. As you can see, it's CDDB. That was the puppy, CDDB. It's not in CDDB. It's looked up, it's not there, it's got no clue. It's an unknown artist, unknown album, totally unknown. So there we go. It's quite straightforward. Under preferences you have the encode. So you can take it off as WAV, uncompressed, MP3, lossy compression, and you can set a variable bitrate or standard. OGG Vorbis. Now OGG is one that many people haven't come across before, and that's because, if I remember correctly, MP3 is licensed. OGG isn't. Like MP3, it is a lossy compression format, as you can see, and you've got controls over the quality, but it's open source. So OGG never really, I don't believe, took off as it could have done, but if you want to, well, you've got choices, is all I can say. If you want to go between OGG and MP3 and make your decision, go ahead. Read up on it, is what I'd say. You have AAC, again a lossy compression format, or in my case I normally go for FLAC, especially when I'm taking off CD, because you don't lose anything. You have control over the compression ratio, and there are, believe it or not, more formats that you can choose from. Opus, which I've never used, WavPack, which I've never used. I don't even know if that's lossy or lossless. MusePack and Monkey's Audio. Never heard of those last two. Those are a bit of a surprise on me. But hey ho, so there are more formats there. Bear with me, I think I may need to sneeze. Trust this to happen in a video. So there we go. So you have some controls over the encoding. We are just going to choose FLAC, and I think you can actually choose multiple formats at once. For the laugh of it, let's just go OGG and FLAC and see what it does. So there we go. Never done two at once. And we're just going to hit rip. Now that should go in the music folder. Is it going in the music folder? No. Where is it going? I don't know where it's actually going to rip it to. There it goes. It's gone into the home folder, the main home folder. Now I'll normally drag that, I'll adjust the preferences to put it in the music folder. So we'll take a look at that in a sec after it's actually finished ripping. But if we have a look in here, we'll find that it's doing both FLAC and OGG at the same time. This is useful if you want to do the job once and you want to keep the FLAC for playing on high def, and you want, say, an MP3 or an OGG to put on a portable music player, so you don't have to do the conversion. We are going to have a look at a conversion tool as well, but hey presto, this is pretty cool. And it's doing the ripping and encoding at the same time, and you can see it working. And it's actually ripping off as WAV, so it's ripping off the uncompressed data as WAV and then doing the compression after that. So effectively it's an all-in-one tool. And this is me just trying to use fill space while it's working and doing its job. You can also see at the top we've got updates are available. This is what you'll get if you don't turn updates off. So you can view them or enable them, or this is just a test system, so I'm not going to bother with them. And I'm just going to go into the preferences. Do I have any preferences to stop it? Automation. No, I can probably have to stop the updates running at start time. Startup applications. Update manager, and I would just turn that to off, and that would stop the update manager from happening. So I can just quit the update manager, and the updates are not going to happen automatically. The update manager is gone. Hurrah! So here we are. We have our update manager, the unknown artist. So we can close that. Preferences, destination folder, music, and the next time I do it, hey ho. And you can create an M3U playlist. I should have turned that off. You've also got ejected file name when finished. File names. You can determine what happens. Album directory, playlist, file, and music file. And allow changing the first track number. So there you go. I just need some water. So you can control how the file name comes out. According to your preferences there, you just use the different options. Here we got the music file is the important one. That's %n, which is the track number, %a, which is the artist, and %t, which is the track, the song title. And that's typically how I have most of mine stored. Normally I don't have the track number, I just have the artist and the title. So there's those preferences there. And you have a few advanced, your CTDB, where you get your server from. We're coming from FreeDDB. If you need an HTTP proxy, and fast ripping, no error correction. So that's it. Asunder has now ripped our CD. Just for the sake of it, I'm going to get rid of the OGG files here, and I'm also going to get rid of the M3U playlist files. So we're going to come right nicely down here. So there are our tracks ripped from unknown artist. So we're going to need to change these, and that's where we're going to do a few things. So we're going to load up, we're going to hunt for the track list. I'm going to try and make this easy on ourselves. Discogs, Rain Del Cid, discography, once it bothers to respond. Yes, that's all about Rain this, here we go, not on label, self-released, and this is the cooling. And here we have our track list. So we have the list, and we're going to put them into a notepad. text editor. That'll do the job. So here we are. This is our track list. And what I'm going to do is highlight all the information and just go backspace return. Do the same again, backspace return. Same again, backspace return. If you remember, I actually enlarged the cursor, which is why it looks so large here, so that it was easier for you to see if you happen to be watching on a smaller thing. So here are our 10 track names. Now what we're going to do is put some stuff in here. These are our tracks. So we need to rename these. Now there's a few things that I could actually do here, but there's two things that I want to show you. So I'm going to try FLAC, and I'm going to end quotes, and I'm going to copy it. FLAC. I couldn't see what was going on under here. So I'm just going to go down end. I've copied it into the buffer, so I'm just going to go down end, and I do that a lot. It's just a few key presses, and you can do it in quick succession to just do the lot. And this is going to be the move command. Right, so just going to take this, all of it, including the dot flag, and put it there. In there. There. Now we're using quotes here because there's spaces involved. So that's why we've got the names in quotes. So I'm just going to go up, home, paste, up, home, paste, up, home, paste. And using that, I've got all this in here. So I'm just going to go down, backspace, and through the numbers for that. So it's dead easy to just go, in this case, backspace 9, up, backspace 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So there we are. Within a few moments, I've got all the commands that will be needed to replace these with the names. Now actually I could have put this in here. Renaya Del Cid. This one's going to hurt. Whoops. Wrong place. Wanted to do it there. So I could have actually done that in all of these, but I just wanted to show you this method of doing things. Once you've actually got the names and you've got into the repeated rhythm of just keyboard up, home, control V, or down end, or up end, whichever way you're going to go through it, and also going up the numbers in the keyboard. Once you've done that, you can actually do this pretty quickly. So it's no big problem. So what I'm just going to do now is copy all these into the clipboard. I'm going to fire up a command process. I'm just going to change directory to, well, I'm just going to change it into unknown artist at the minute because that's where it is, rather than music unknown artist. And all I can do is paste, and for the last one just press return, because there's return already in those, and there you go, they're all replaced. And that's it. The file names are all done. They're all sorted with what they need to be. And that's it. Nice and simple. So we'll close out without saving. We're done with that. And we're also done with that because we now know what they are. So now I'm going to do another bit, which is show you mass renaming. So we've got all these here, and I'm going to go for rename. And you can see we've got a bit of a powerful tool here. One of the things to watch is this here, name only, extension only, or entire file name. In our case, because I'm going to use the .flag part in the pattern matching, I'm going to go for the entire file name. But I'm going to replace .flag, and on the here you can see the original name, and here you can see what it's going to be. And I'm going to replace that with space hyphen space Reina del Cid .flag. So you can see what we're doing here. We're doing a large scale search and replace on this. And and also I'm putting a couple of spaces either side of the hyphen. Now, you've also got a few other options in here: regular expression, case sensitive, or when you hit rename, boom, that's it. They are renamed. So you've got some quite powerful options for renaming files, mass renaming files, and it's once you've done it a couple of times, it's straightforward and it's pretty powerful, and it can help you out. Yeah, there's a few things about. I'll just go into where I'm going to go. I'm just going to call up writer so I can make things a bit bigger. And file names, characters not to use. Whoops, where did that go? That just went completely up there. LibreOffice. Yeah, just create a new writer document for me. So we're going to go a bit bigger. Now there's a few characters that I do not use. I don't use backslash and I don't use forward slash. In fact, let's just make those a bit bigger still. And in fact, a bit bigger still. That'll do. I don't use forward slash or backslash. The forward slash is the directory modifier. So so if you cd backslash home backslash home backslash Michelle, what is taken as a special character, I think. Shouldn't be. Backslash home backslash Michelle, etc. That character is part of a directory, so you don't use that one. The reason you don't use the other one is because it's the escape character. I could actually put the forward slash in the name if I wanted by escaping it, and the escape character says, look, rather than take this as what it normally is, like a wildcard or something like that, treat it as it should be, treat it as it is. So you could actually put a slash in there by escaping the character, the special character, before you put it in. So the backslash has a special meaning as well. It's an escape character. It's a way of getting characters in there that you don't normally want to get in there. The asterisk you probably know of, and the question mark is also similar to an asterisk. And that is basically, whereas an asterisk is everything and any number of characters, a question mark is normally any character. But for example, 3 question marks would match a 3 character, would match any character in a 3 character word. Yeah, it's, if you have a file name or something which is, and you're looking for 3 characters but you don't, or let's say we had those files that we had before, and we had 4 files by the name of title, or file 01, file 02, file 03, file 10. You could do that, and hence it would match all the numbers, because it wouldn't matter. It's something called that's known as regex, regular expressions, and if you want to look up regex, feel free to do so, but you're going to have to get a bit more advanced in order to start using regex, because it's pretty powerful and you can get yourself in a mess. I also don't use the hat. I don't use tilde where I can, and I also don't use ampersand. If I find ampersand, I'll replace it with the word and. It's not that special. I just don't try not to use it because I've had issues moving files between file systems, typically between Linux and DOS, when I've had to transfer files for someone else. Some characters, and also the exclamation mark, I think Linux can handle it, but DOS has problems with it or something, so I tend not to do that. And I also don't use the double quotes. If I'm going to use the double quotes, I'll replace it with a single quote. The apostrophe. The apostrophe occurs anyway in naturally in a number of files, but the double quote I will use, as you saw when we were compiling those commands in order to do the renaming. There were spaces in there, so we enclose it in double quotes. if you have a double quote in the name, then that's going to throw it. So for reasons like that, I tend to stay away from the double quotes as well, and I'll replace them with the apostrophe. There is another one which is a single quote, but as opposed to the apostrophe, but I don't use a single quote either. I'll just use the apostrophe. It just makes things a bit easier. And anything else that could potentially be awkward, like plus, hash, stuff like that, I'll tend to stay away from. I will tend to be quite conservative with the characters that I'm using in file names because it can cause a bit of a problem. But obviously something like the hyphen I will use quite happily. So there is something which you need to avoid, and there is something which looks like a hyphen but isn't a hyphen. It's longer than a hyphen, and when you're cutting and pasting names from some websites, the hyphen can turn out to be a long version of the hyphen, which isn't actually a hyphen. But be aware of that, and you'll be doing search and replaces, and you'll think, why isn't that replaced? You know, it's some weird long hyphen which I never got to the grips of myself. So now we have the files themselves ripped and renamed. Now we need to alter the data that's in there, so that when we're using something like an MP3 or something, it can actually read it. And that's where easy target comes in. Now we're going to discard that unknown artist. So here we are. We've got it on the left. In the middle we have our file names and what's going on, and the tags that are in each of them at the moment. Totally unknown. It's got the track numbers because that came off with it, but that's pretty much about it, and it's sorted by track numbers at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to import the file name and use that to populate all this, to populate the tags, and that's up here. That's the scanner. Now the scanner works in pretty much the same way as Asunder did, and here we have how you want to take the file name, and in our case I have the artist and track number, track title, but in which case we've got this the other way around. So I want to take the track title first, Sweet Annie, yeah, and then we've got the artist, Renee Dulcid, track 1, unknown artist. So that's how the fields are going to come out, and we're going to scan the files. In fact, we need to do all of them. I need to select them all in order to scan them, and we're going to scan them all. Title, oh, fill tag, that's right. I'm an idiot. That was actually rename the file. So we don't actually want to rename the file. Have I just stuffed that up? No, I haven't by the looks of it, which is fortunate, because we haven't saved it. So I'm going to deliberately discard that and go into that, because normally it keeps where you were last, and I'm normally in the fill tag, but obviously the default is to rename files. So you can actually do the reverse. You can rename the file according to what's in the tag, so you can do the reverse to what we're actually doing. But I'm going to use the fill tag. In this case it would come out as unknown artist /b /%a -t. Oh my god. Okay, so in our case we're just going to completely butcher that. %t space -space %a. Here we go. Sweet Annie, Renee Adil said. So that's how it's going to come off, and that's why I put the space between either side of the hyphen, is because if the title itself contains a hyphen and I didn't have the spaces in, wherever the title actually had a hyphen in, it would break it at that point. So hence I use a space hyphen space. So we'll scan the files, and there we go. The title and the artist is immediately there. There's still a lot that is comment encoded by EasyTag. Let's take that out, and I'm going to use the tag selected files with this comment, so whatever's in here, boom, automatically goes. I'll show you that again in a moment. And somewhere in here there should be preferences, ID3 tags, set this as default comment. No, we don't. So that'll stop that on any further scanning. So the A's at the right side, let's, for example, this is an album and this is the cooling. Now normally I would have to then go through each of these and rename it the album to the cooling, but this will populate all of them. Bang, the cooling. And the year, I don't actually know the year, 2015 by the looks of this, so I can put in the year 2015. Bang, there's the year in, and the artist is Renee Adele Sid for the whole album, so that lot is all done as well. So here we go. The title is there, the artist, album, year, track number, genre. I could put the, you can put this stuff in if you like, however much you like, and when you're done you just press save the changes to the selected files, then it's done. Now as it happened, if I'd done that scanner, the rename file stuff that I accidentally did, and then saved it, it would have gone off and done what it would have done. What are the genres? There's all sorts of genres in here, but we're not going to do that. So now we actually have all the files ripped, we have them named, and we have them tagged. What more could you want? Now, what you've also got is sound converter, and you can convert things to all sorts. You have under your preferences where to place the results, the same one as the input files, delete original files if you want to, how to name files, same as input but placing the suffix. You do have an additional suffix if you want. You could put track number title or a custom file name pattern if you wanted, and you've got that sort of thing in there. So we're just going to use but replacing the suffix, and here you've got the option of your output format. So let's say I was going to translate these to MP3 to put on my MP3 player in the car. You then got control over the quality, variable bit rate. You could resample if you wanted to. You could even force a mono output if you wanted to. Limit number of parallel jobs, and there you go. You could also put into folder and a different folder if you wanted, create subfolders according to the artist, album, blah blah. You've got a fair bit of power here. So all we just do is I can just drag let's just drag this into the music folder for a start. That's better. So we're just going to drag that folder into the sound converter, and boom, it brings them all in. So we're just going to go in here and tell it to convert, and there it goes. It's got a number of parallel jobs going here, 5 at a time. Conversion is happening. Oh, 4 at a time by the looks of it, sorry. So you can pretty much convert from anything to anything if you want. Once you know the formats that you're happy with, Sound Converter can do it for you quite quickly. The other thing that you might find yourself wanting to do is burn a CD or a DVD or anything of that nature, and Brazero comes with the system. Now in the old Windows days you typically didn't have any software, and when you bought a CD writer, then some software would come with it, typically Nero, I think. Was it Nero? And then you had all serial keys and activation and all the rest of that crap to deal with. Later versions of Windows 10 I think may have been earlier than Windows 10, came with CD writing in it, but I've always found it difficult because it can keep a session open and it gets confusing, and I don't know, I prefer to keep my writing as a separate operation rather than muddle session writing in with all the stuff that's going in with Windows and watching the files. Okay. So under Brazero you've got the usual things. You can create an audio CD project, a data project, so a data CD or DVD, a video project. You could make a DVD or an SVCD. You can do a one-to-one copy, and you can also do a copy out to an image, to an ISO file. So you can use that to generate an ISO file from an actual CD or a DVD, and you can burn an image back from an ISO to a CD or DVD. Audio project, you would just drag the files in there. Or just drag the flags, what the hell. Or I'll just drag those flags in. And there you go, it tells you the usual stuff, length, title. Is this a few things it's not telling us at the moment because I haven't got a blank in there. But you've got various options. Add files, empty project. You should have various options when you go to burn, which is whether or not you want to keep the thing open. Tools, eject. I think when you eject it does it, and I think I've got to eject anyway, because typically what I'm doing is when I'm creating a CD, I'm creating it and that's it. Reason being, now CDs, you can keep sessions open. Normally we think of CDs and that media as write once and that's it. But it is possible to have multiple sessions, even though it is write once media. You can still keep sessions open, and the multiple sessions will affect the sessions that came before them. Let's say in my first session I wrote these 5 files, and on my second session I added that file but took away Sweet Annie. Then session 2 would not only have the file I'd added, but it would have an instruction to get rid of that first one, to take it out. And you can open up a multi-session CD and examine each session, so it may be possible to pull things back. But as you can see, it starts getting a bit messy, and that's why I prefer to just write the disk, close all sessions, and eject it. Because other times you can also have, not all audio equipment, if you've got a CD player in the car or somewhere else, not all the equipment has the ability to handle multi-session CDs. So typically I've just got in the habit of doing one session, that's it, job done. So there you go. But that software is there. What else do we have under sound and video? Audacious is typically the software that I use to play audio. I'm just going to minimize that out of the way, and you have playlists. You can have new playlists. Playlist, that's it. Sort them, new playlists. You can have multiple playlists, and you can rename it. My rock playlist, new playlist, classical. So you can drag things in. New playlist is typically the playlist that will happen whenever, if I was to double click one of these and start playing it, that's what would happen. The new playlist would fire up and those would all be in there. But you can drag things in between things. I'm pretty sure you used to be able to move things. Q on Q, cut and copy. Oh yeah. If you wanted to move them, you'd have to cut them from there and paste them into the other one. So yeah, it's possible to move files between playlists quite easily, and then sort them, and you've got the usual repeat function, shuffle function, all that sort of thing up there. And I'm typically using Audacious for my audio playback right now. There are multiple other players. You've got choice, but Audacious is a relatively easy one to get used to, and relatively easy to program, and it is telling you it just works basically. And it's also integrated into the music. You can see we've got down here, it's already tagged into Audacious, and you can say that the player is stopped. If I actually move my camera, you can see it's tagged into Audacious. It's currently stopped, unknown article, and you've got control panels here, control options here, together with volume, without actually having to fire Audacious back up and find out where you've put it or where you've minimized it to. And that's pretty much how you handle that. And I'm just going to move myself back down to the bottom, because I think that's almost about it for that. VLC, Kazam, Hypnotics, Handbrake, yada yada yada. There's one that's actually missing from here. It's not in here. And I think that's because I took it off my main programs. Yeah, it was that. Audacity caused a bit of a hoo-ha, and we'll see what we can find out about it. Rather than just taking my word, Audacity controversy. Audacity developers apologize, reverse controversial privacy policy. That's basically what happened. Drop trust. 20 days ago, this was last year, middle of last year, 2021. 20 days ago, Foss Post was one of the first media outputs to publish about the new privacy policy for Audacity. In the old privacy policy, broad and unlimited legal contexts were introduced for data collection, which is what they tried to do it, which unleashed a huge backlash from the community. Basically, they were starting to move themselves into the data collection game. So when you used Audacity, it collected data and sent it back to the developers. A lot of people kicked up a lot of fuss, and yeah. Later on, angry users and developers went on to create different forks for Audacity, the most famous one being Tenacity, which aims to be a privacy-focused alternative to Audacity. That's one of the things that open source community can do that you can't do with closed source. You can just fork the code. But the Audacity developers revised their privacy policy and removed the troublesome parts from it. So there you go. I think we are... we've removed the provision that discourages children under 13 years old from using Audacity. We've taken steps to ensure that we never store a full IP address. We now truncate it before hashing or discarding it entirely, and have reflected this change in the privacy document. And we've made some changes to how we process error reports to ensure that we never store any potentially identifiable information. So you may still want to have a look at this. Part of the problem is because of data collection, and they were collecting data, and people under 13 years old, there were then further privacy issues with that, and there was a past contradiction with the GPL license. So you may want to read up on this and make a decision. Like said, Tenacity is one that you can take a look at. I don't even know if it's actually in here. Let's take a look. It's not in the repos. You probably have to get it. But yeah, we now have Audacity installed. Now, if you're familiar with Goldwave, you should be familiar with Audacity. And I'm just going to open with this with Audacity, with this FLAC file. Eventually. Takes a while. Sometime today would be helpful. There we go. Don't show that tip at startup. It's quite powerful. You probably want to read up on the manuals for it. If you're familiar with Goldwave, you'll be familiar with this. You've got the usual zoom functions, selection, and you've got effects that you can play: amplify, auto duck, change pitch, speed, tempo, compress, click removal, graph EQ, invert, repair, phaser it. You can insert silence and all the rest of that jazz. You can do quite a bit. Typically when you also have a volume controls for the microphone up here, recording level, as well as playback level. You have these are your actual volume controls, and these are the playback VU meters effectively, and you can also monitor rather than anything else. At the minute this is monitoring nothing. I don't know what that's monitoring, but hey ho. So we can just stop that. You got the usual controls: selection, envelope tool, draw tool I find very useful. If I'm recording vinyl, for example, and let's just say that this was a click, the fairly loud click, I would find it, zoom in on it. I'm obviously making this up because a click wouldn't be like this. And let's just say that was a click and I wanted to get rid of it. I could either do this sort of thing, find that sort of pattern and delete it, or I could actually zoom in a bit further, and when it changes to these dots, you can actually pick the draw tool and actually redraw the wave form. So you can remove clicks and things like that by literally redrawing the waveform. It's pretty powerful. And also you've got the usual cut and paste, which I've done on some music tracks where there's been clicks which and sections dropped. A few of my really old records have been badly scratched, and I've literally had to copy sections out and paste them into other sections of the music in order to repair, because it's been impossible to just do. It's impossible otherwise. I just had to completely replace phases, and of course when you do this you have to be very careful of what you're doing, because if the wave is suddenly going, it will itself cause, if there's any major sudden change, it will cause a noise in itself. So you've got to be a bit careful when you're doing that sort of thing. It's very powerful. You can generate all sorts of things, jerk, DTMF tones. Yep. DTMF sequence. Let's just try this. Let's just kill that and file new. Generate, no, cancel that. Generate DTMF tones, Audacity. Can we play that? Yeah, it's generating these DTMF tones. Generate noise, silence, tone, pluck, rhythm track. Rhythm track? What the heck? Tempo, beats per bar, swing amount. Alright, let's see what this ends up with. That's cool. I don't normally use it for this, but hey ho. There are a few other things that you can use. There are, I think... Oh, I've actually triggered a number of things off. If you're into MIDI, there are MIDI distributions as well. MIDI software, Linux, MIDI. Is Rosetta? Was it Rosetta, I think? Best MIDI software. Tux Guitar. Multi-track guitar, tabulator editor, Hydrogen, FX floorboard, Aria Minnesota, Tone.js, Munt. No, I've never heard it. Rose Garden, that's the puppy. That's the one that I think I used to use. But you've got other stuff, Improviser, Lead Sheet Notation. Yeah. Software Drum Machine. Cool. GR floorboard. So you've got there is software around to do that. Linux tracker software. Linux tracker, the Premier the tracking, time tracking. Amiga. Let's see if that works. Mod trackers, players, Linux sound. Pro tracker. Okay, Linux mod tracker. Linux music software, mod trackers, hit squad again. Renoise, scale tracker, pro tracker, sound tracker, buzz tracker, Milky tracker, Sunvox, X soundtrack. Basically, if you want to do it, you can typically find something in Linux to do it. So yeah, and I think there are some specific distributions, Linux distributions for music. The 5 best Linux distros for artists, musicians and editors. So there are entire distributions already configured for you. Advantages, DTP and image editing, all-round Linux creativity, music productions, AV Linux. If you're serious about making music with Linux, AV Linux is for you. It offers a bit of everything. The focus is on sound editing and production, based on Debian and described as a turnkey AV content creation system. So yeah, and every video, image, and a Podio? Oh my god. Podio's website looks like it's seen better days. The documentation is sparse, blah blah, 12th iteration. Yeah. And so there are entire distributions, which so you just download the distribution, install it, and everything's there for you. AV Linux. Okay. AV Linux MX edition, based on Debian. So there you go. There's all sorts of stuff there for you in the music sphere. Yeah. So what can I say? Basically, you've got a lot of choice, you've got a lot of power, you've got a lot of abilities, and yeah, you can do most of the basic stuff, the everyday stuff, for want of a better word, relatively easily without having to load anything too outstandingly difficult. And it's relatively straightforward. Audacity itself, or whether you feel strongly enough to go for tenacity, should there should be enough documentation out there on Audacity that it should all work on tenacity, by what I've been reading. It's up to you to do a bit of reading, make your own decisions and what you want to go for. And Audacity is quite a powerful suite, and yeah, it has to be treated with a bit of care. There is actually one other thing, which is Linux Java click removal. If you are like me, click removal, let's just take Java out of the equation. It's not on here because this is just a simple test that's going to get blown away at the end of this, but I know what I'm looking for, and if I go into certain folders here, I will find it. Click repair, that's what it's called. Click repair. Whoops, I can't even spell click repair. Now, click repair is something that I use to get the clicks out of the vinyl. It's got quite a bit of power to it. I actually stumped up the money for it. I don't think it was that much, because I make a fair chunk of use out of it, and it's also available for Mac, but this is typically a Java version. So although it says click repair for Windows, I haven't actually got there. Let's just let it do its thing. Softonic. That should now be able to do its thing. There is a Java version. Click repair, the Softonic. That does look like the software. Start processing, default IP. Yeah, this is the one, but I'm using a Java version. Let's set everything temporarily to trust. Learn more. Disagree to all. Download for Windows. No. Older versions, other platforms, 1. I wonder if the Java version that I'm using is the last one. I don't know. You probably want to get in touch with the developer about this. They were called Softonic. Maybe it's been bought out, I don't know. File Hippo. Oh, what's going on with Click Repair? Steve Hoffman. Oh, this is relatively new. It's under reconstruction. Does have a copyright button at the bottom. try emailing Dave's audio. It's not possible to buy the software. Damn it. I really tried to get in touch with this developer without success. Shows under construction. Willing to borrow me the registration info upon as soon as possible. I'll buy the software. Ooh. Ouch. That's not good. So I was lucky to have it. His software is legendary. That basically sums it up. The software is legendary. Oh, what was that about health? Okay. Please keep writing your thoughts. Written in the Java program language, yes. Platform independent executable jar, yes, that's what I've got. Should be possible, blah blah blah. But not the Windows download, because unlike Mac, everything continues to just work on Windows. Using a link in Brian's write-up, I downloaded the latest JRE, installed it, and still couldn't run CR. Did some more checking. Also had 2 different versions of JDK installed. There was JRE, blah blah blah, since I don't do Java development. I emailed and received a response. He indicated, I'm too ill to continue and don't expect to recover. Ooh, bugger. Ouch. Despite his current situation, he was gracious enough to follow up with a PDF that details what needs to be installed on your Mac in order for the jar file to execute. Since I can't attach the PDF, I'll send it to anyone that requests it, but summarize what it says. Okay. That's not good. Too ill to continue and don't expect to recover. Bugger. That's not good. Okay, so where do we go with that one? Where do we go with that one indeed? Basically, I'd better make sure I've got multiple backups of the jar file and my license key, which is also linked to my name and email address, so I can't exactly give that out. Okay, that's no good. I'm going to have to do some digging and find out what the state of Brian Davis's health is, because I exchanged a few emails when I was purchasing the software, etc. And yeah, it looks like if you want to take the risk, you may be able to download the Mac version, and the Mac version may be jar. Click repair, download ensoftonic.com. Click repair for Mac, download for Mac. What do we get? Your download has started. DMG. It's a GMG. Can we actually open it with that's probably going to be I'm hopefully going to find that this is how to extract GMG in Linux. Zip can then be used as an alternative extractor. Okay. Open with other application, Archive Manager. Couldn't open it. Okay. We might have to actually use zip. Yep, unzip, click repair. Can it do it? Whoop. Can't open it. Click. Can't even spell. It's not a default. Okay, we're gonna have to find something else. What I would hopefully expect is to open that DMG file somehow and hopefully find a Java file in there. Find the .jar in there. But that's a good one if you can get a hold of it. Shame, real shame. Oh well. I've actually noticed that this webcam appears to be behind a little. That's not good, is it? Okay. Well, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next part, which will be looking at a few things that I've missed and forgotten to tell you about. So until then, ciao for now.